So Tanya, why should I style a property?
Andrew, you should style your property because
Hello, welcome to the very first episode of Inside Real Estate. Our very first guest today is Tanya Giuffre from Evolve Property Styling. Tanya is the Managing Director at Evolve. And Tanya, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Andrew. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. Tanya, just to get things started, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. I'm an interior designer, qualified interior designer. My husband and I started renovating properties, over 20 years ago now. And we would buy a property specifically to renovate and flip it and put it back on the market, and we would do all the work ourselves. So I guess I have a really good insight about where you get value with renovating properties, which translates very well into property styling. Later in life, I went from executive recruitment and then I studied to become an interior designer on the recommendation of a real estate agent that said, who had sold our property, that I should get into it for a career because he'd never seen a property presented. And this was very early days when property styling really wasn't well known and it wasn't something that happened quite often. So that was probably the catalyst.
So Tanya, why should I style a property?
Andrew, you should style your property because you create more interest with a broader cross-section of buyers. It's proven that you actually increase the sale price of your property, and also you sell it quicker as well. Return on investment, you're looking at a minimum of 7 up to even 15%. Obviously we've had higher than that before, but that's an average figure of what you would expect return on investment for styling. And let's face it, beautiful photos is what gets people into your property in the first place. In this digital age, you really need to be able to get people through the front door.
Yeah, definitely we see that on our side as well. Ultimately, you're fighting for buyers' attention now. Mm-hmm. So I know we've spoken about this before, but yes. Getting those buyers to notice those photos and having the right scale mm-hmm. of furniture really does, pay dividends. So we found that, and I find also for me, which we've spoken about at length off camera, is that when buyers walk through a property, they've only got a small amount of time to get a feel for it, and obviously exactly. If it all flows and makes sense, it definitely does help with the buyer's decision on whether it's for them or not. So yeah.
I think about how many times, if someone's a serious buyer, how much time they spend every weekend looking around at different properties, and they'll see maybe up to 20 properties. So I think it's really important, particularly in this market, that your property stands out for all the right reasons. People are buying a dream. They don't want to walk from their house with their everyday clutter into another house. This is going to be the biggest investment of their life. So anything that you can do to present your property so it stands out and has at the same time personality and something individual has to be beneficial for your property.
Yeah, definitely. So Tanya, do you believe every property benefits from being styled?
Absolutely, Andrew. Every property benefits from being styled, regardless of whether it's even considered a knockdown. I think that there's benefits as well. If you look at photos online, if you've got furniture in all the rooms, it helps people to see the proportion and the space of a room as opposed to just an empty room. So it's surprising what furniture can do as far as hiding different things as well, a little bit of smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, definitely. We just recently conducted a campaign that we finished where your team was involved, of course, and we found buyers were then noticing and understanding the home better because the furniture brought it all together, and they've only got a limited amount of time to see it when they're there, and that really did help bring that property, to its full potential. Where people then did notice some of the more attractive period features of the home as well, which that older style furniture sort of encapsulated. And then during the campaign in the end, actually, we turned out the bidders at the auction, one was a knockdown, rebuild buyer, and the other one was trying to keep it because of the, the features of the home. So that showed to us that it picked up both sides of the marketplace. There's styling a property, but I think, the collection of different properties that you and I have worked on recently, just, that extra level of product that you've got available means that we can put the right furniture in a home, not just something that buyers have seen before, and I think that really does help a home We had one recently that looked very Blue Mountains-like, and when people walked in, they said exactly that. So again, that helped summarise that home. The other one was old period features, and we did that beautifully. And then we might have something that's more contemporary, and you're able to do that. So I think that big repertoire is really important, but it does help encapsulate the home, and buyers have only got a short time to kind of digest it. So I think that for me, I think it's an extremely powerful moment to do. And again, we're fighting for their attention right back at photos like we talked about, and that's so important. So yeah.
I think that's a point of difference that we're really proud of with our property styling company. I've been collecting furniture from all around the world and collecting antique and vintage furniture for over 8 years. So we do have a lot of resources to pull on. So we always style a bespoke style. We style to suit every individual home. So we don't just have generic furniture that goes from one house to the other. And clients notice that when they've been searching the area to buy a home and they've looked at a lot of different homes, they always comment about how everything starts to look the same after a while. And I can honestly say our property styling is not like that, which is a great source of pride for the girls.
So Tanya, from the initial quotation through to installation, what sort of process involved?
Okay, once I've come to the property, we always take photos and detailed measurements. And the reason we do that, we often take longer than most other styling companies because that's such an crucial part to us being able to style your property properly. I would then go back to the office and I have all my measurements. So I sit down and actually space plan every room. And space planning is where you work out the correct size of furniture and the correct layout for the room so that I can quote properly. And the things that I always think about, which are so vital, are really good pass-throughs. For when people are coming to look through your home, it's important that we have really lovely flow zones. So they're all the things I consider before I even put the quote together. Then I would do the quote and hopefully we have that quote to you either the same day or the next day so that you could have the opportunity to look through it carefully. If you want to make any adjustments, we're very flexible to work with you and try and reach an outcome which suits both your budget and how to present your home to the best.
Okay, and if we're in a bit of a hurry with a potential vendor, what's the shortest turnaround you think you'll work towards?
I've done 2 days.
Wow.
And
okay.
I'm actually working on a huge waterfront apartment in Elizabeth Bay, which is a 3-day turnaround. Luckily, it's not such a busy time of year in September. That would be very difficult to do at the peak of the season. So generally, we like to have a week from when you have signed off because we like to plan your job as well. It's not just a matter of grabbing things. All my stylists are qualified interior designers and they actually like to take the time to pull the right pieces of furniture together for your property. So the more time frame we have, obviously it gives us more opportunity to work in more detail.
Yeah, and I guess you're dealing with warehouses and trucks and logistics,
yes.
and there's a lot more to it than just picking a couch. Yeah.
Absolutely, and staff as well.
Okay, so for those that are looking to do a department store do-it-yourself property style, what's the one piece of advice you could give those people?
The most important piece of advice would be to declutter. And in order to declutter, you have to be quite dispassionate how you look at your house, remove yourself emotionally from it. Stand at the door for every room and just look at how it presents, because that's how it will look through the camera eye. So once you've done that, you can then decide what you need to take away, and potentially you might remove up to 50% of your items.
What's one question you get asked all the time?
I get asked all the time for help in decorating their house, and it's usually to do with colours, or they've bought pieces of furniture which are too big and they're trying to ask my help to problem solve.
And why do you think that is? Is it just down to trying to stay up with trends, or is it?
I think people are so much more exposed to interior design now because of all the shows. So everybody has a real interest in interior design now and staying on trend. So that's why I often get asked about colours, or what colour should I do this, or I've got a grey wall now, what other colours should I use? But often people will have gone out and bought a piece of furniture that they absolutely fell in love with, and they haven't considered how big it is in the space.
If you could give one piece of advice around property styling, what would it be?
The advice that I give is try and remember to step outside of your personal interest in the home and try and be a little bit dispassionate in that how you present your home is going to be very different to how you live in it. So you need to be open to how you lay out your furniture. The most important thing I think you would say from a real estate point of view is when you've got groups of people coming through your home, they need to flow through the home really easily. They're not walking into the back of furniture or stepping around things. So sometimes you have to take that I'm living in the house hat off and stand and look at every room like a picture snapshot and just rearrange your furniture even, or let a stylist come and help you to get the right balance for the room so that it feels easy for the people when they come in.
Tanya, thank you so much for being on the show today. It's been amazing.
Thank you. It's been my absolute pleasure.
You're welcome. If you'd like to know more, please hit the Learn More button below. Alternatively, you can contact us directly. But until next time, thanks for watching.